What we can see is that Bitcoin is currently testing the top of the range after getting a beautiful bounce from the range low area that we have formed right over here. We saw a beautiful bounce, and after the bounce, Bitcoin has now been retesting that range high and is actually reclaiming that range high potentially as well, while tapping into a new all-time high. Now we know that we want to trade this range until it breaks. I am anticipating a potential range breakout over here, which means that if I'm anticipating a potential range breakout, I'm looking for a potential range breakout model to be formed right over here for the price of Bitcoin. But a lot of you guys are probably wondering right now, what does a range breakout model look like? And we are actually currently potentially developing a range breakout model as we speak, because what we can see over here on a 4-hourly time frame is this slow grinding price action towards the upside over here. And now that slow grinding price action towards the upside is exactly what we would like to see to form a potential high probability range breakout model, because we can see that Bitcoin has been breaking through this previous high over here, and it has also been breaking through this previous high right over here. That means that we are putting in fake market structure breaks. What do I mean by a fake market structure break? The difference between the fake and valid market structure break, guys, is that a fake market structure break is when price breaks through an insignificant high over here. Now, when does a high carry significance? If that high brings us to a lower low compared to the low that brought us to that high. Now a high is significant to break, so this is a valid break of structure. What we're looking at over here is that the high only brings us to a higher low compared to this low that brought us to that high. So therefore this is a fake market structure break. So as you guys can see over here, we are looking at one fake market structure break and a second fake market structure break. These fake market structure breaks are designed to trap people into breakout long positions over here. And therefore I am short-term bearish on Bitcoin. I'm not looking to short Bitcoin. I'm just waiting for Bitcoin to flush out some late low probability long positions that are FOMOing into buy positions upon reaching a new all-time high. Those long positions, guys, in my opinion, are placing their stops beneath the lows that I'm marking out on the chart right over here. So therefore there's plenty of liquidity resting beneath those two lows. And that is exactly what we would like to see to get a potential range breakout model. Now, to get a high probability and sustainable range breakout model, what I would like to see over here on the price of Bitcoin is for Bitcoin to mitigate that liquidity pool, preferably mitigate both liquidity pools, because if price does this, what do you think will happen to retail players? Retail will look at price as a potential deviation above the range high over here, right? It indeed looks like a deviation, but we know that a deviation doesn't mean anything if it doesn't align with your bias. My bias is high time frame bullish. I think we continue higher, so I'm not looking to trade a bearish deviation over here. What I'm looking for instead is for retail to get trapped into shorts. If we get a range reclaim back inside of the range, they will be shorting the price of Bitcoin over here with their stops above this high, targeting lower levels in the range low over here. Whoops! You don't want your portfolio to drop like that, so make sure to like and subscribe, and let's keep things steady. But that is exactly what I would like to happen. Because if people start opening up breakdown short positions over here with their stops above that high, we can use those shorts later on to squeeze them out towards the upside. And that is exactly what we would like to see for a range breakout model. Once we have mitigated the liquidity pool once over here and a second time over here, I'm looking for the final step to complete this range breakout model and to hop into a breakout long position. I'm looking for price to put in a market structure break towards the upside over here. If we put in a market structure break back towards the upside over here, in confluence with a reclaim of the range high area, then I have a range breakout model confirmed. If the range breakout model is then confirmed, I'm looking to be a buyer of Bitcoin over here with my invalidation over here, and then I'll be targeting a lot higher levels over here. Now, a lot of you guys are probably wondering, why did the title say that I'm selling my Bitcoin? First of all, since I'm short-term a little bit bearish, but second of all, in my opinion, the money right now for the upcoming weeks and months is not to be made with Bitcoin, but with altcoins instead. So I am indeed selling my spot positions on Bitcoin, and I'm relocating that money and that profit back into altcoins like Ethereum, but especially also into one of my favorite altcoins that I will chart right now, Chainlink. Because I believe that this chart on Chainlink is looking absolutely stunning, guys, because we can see that also Chainlink was forming a range low area over here, and Chainlink has a range a high area right over here. So Chainlink is definitely range bound. We can definitely agree on that. Also, if we draw out the fixed range volume profile over here, we can see that Chainlink has been reclaiming that value area low. Currently it's seeing a bit of a rejection around that point of control, but we know that after reclaim of the value area low, technically speaking, we should be pushing towards the value area high. And like I said, on top of that, we are also simply range bound on Chainlink, in which we have seen a first smaller deviation over here, being followed up by a second bigger deviation. That second bigger deviation of the range low led to an impulse towards the upside. It gave us a high probability market structure break towards the upside over here. Now let's get back to the lesson that I was explaining to you guys before. This high over here is a significant high to break. Why? Because it brings us to a lower low over here compared to this low that brought us to that high. Therefore, it's a significant and not an insignificant high to break, and therefore this is a valid market structure break. I will leave a link in the description down below explaining more in depth about market structure and about the difference between valid, invalid, but also high probability and low probability market structure break. So make sure to check out that link. You can find the link in the description down below to that education video. Check it out after this one. But that basically means that we have a bigger deviation confirmed over here below the range low. So technically speaking, we should be seeking for a move towards the range high over here. Now we can also see that after that initial reversal structure, Chainlink has been showing some relative signs of strength once more, because we can see that, in my opinion, potentially Chainlink has confirmed a higher low over here. Because when I go on a 2-hourly time frame and I try to decrypt the story that the price action over here is trying to tell me, what I can see is that Chainlink was first putting in a very clean fake market structure break towards the upside over here. It was swing failing that high we had over here once and a second time over here. Therefore, there was plenty of liquidity resting beneath that wick over here, which we then mitigated, as you guys can see. So we were mitigating that sell-side liquidity pool. After mitigating that sell-side liquidity pool, we can see the price formed a lower high, a lower low, and then a higher high. So once again, guys, what are we looking at over here? A valid, high probability market structure break for the price of Chainlink. Now, important is when we are looking at market structure like this, we can see that the structure is definitely visible on the 2-hourly time frame. What we can also see if I navigate towards the 4-hourly time frame is that the structure is definitely also visible on the 4-hourly time frame as well. Now, if your structure is visible on both the 2-hour and 4-hourly time frame, you always want to wait for 4-hour confirmations instead of 2-hour confirmations. So I was waiting for the hour 4 candles over here to open and close above this significant high. We indeed got those candle opens and closes, and therefore this has been a confirmed reversal structure, or you can also say continuation structure towards the upside. So in my opinion, if price of Chainlink is truly bullish, it should be holding this low right over here. That is a invalidation for my bullish thesis, and I will be looking for long executions on the price of Chainlink, targeting higher levels over here. And what I also like about that current weekly low that was formed on Chainlink is that we formed it on Monday, as you guys can see over here. And 55.1% of weekly candles on Chainlink form the first pivot on Monday, which means that if you get a bullish weekly candle on Chainlink, 55.1% of the bullish weekly candles, over half of the bullish weekly candles on Chainlink, form the low on a Monday over here. Now, in my opinion, that adds to the probability for this low to hold for the remainder of the week, because not just based on structure, like I just explained to you guys, but also based on the timing of the low that I marked out over here, it's really in favor for the bulls to hold this low while seeking higher prices for the price of Chainlink towards the upside. I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. If you guys did enjoy today's video, make sure to smash the like button, make sure to subscribe to the channel, and I'll catch you guys on the next one. Ciao, ciao!